This is Blothar of Gwar, and you are watching Heavy Consequence on Consequence of Soul.
How are you?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Good to see you. Good to see you, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Good to be here.
Thank you for taking the time.
You know, I was busy, but always got time for you.
Thank you, sir. Well, first off, I wanted to ask you, what does an intergalactic barbarian like yourself do during a pandemic?
Well, you know, of course, basically we just applaud the death that's going on in this country and around the world. It's nice to see. Of course, it takes a lot of the effort off of us, and you know, we could use a break. I mean, so for us, it's just, I mean, as long as we've got enough toilet paper, we're fine.
But is there any resentment, like knowing that, you know, the pandemic's taken away your job, that you're out here to destroy humankind and now something else is doing it?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it was probably a mistake to get last year's model. COVID-19 doesn't really, you know, COVID-20 would probably, you know, you can't even drive one off the lot without the value just taking a nosedive. So I don't know. I mean, as far as resentment, yeah, I mean, some of us, the you know, the bloodlustier members of the band definitely, you know, would like for the disease to leave some for us, right? But in general, it gives us an opportunity to just, you know, sit by the pool and do cocaine and drink Kool-Aid.
Have there been any thoughts of leaving Earth and returning to Scumdogia during the pandemic for your own safety?
For our own safety. Well, Gwar doesn't. I don't think Gwar is affected by the actual disease itself. I mean, certainly we're always trying to get off the planet Earth. You know, Gwar's it's like one big episode of Gilligan's Island, right? Which probably only the oldest fans watching this or people watching this will understand. But yeah, I mean, we try. Sometimes we manage to get back. Sometimes we don't. We always wind up right back here on Earth, so it seems like this is where we're doomed to be. But you know, nobody's really thinking about going back to Scumdogia to avoid this thing. We have been hanging out around in Antarctica, social distancing for a while, but I mean that's nothing new for Gwar.
So lately, you guys have been in the headlines. There's a petition to replace a statue of General Robert E. Lee in Richmond, Virginia, with your late fearless great leader, Oderus Urungus.
Right.
And, I wanted to know, what would you like us measly humans to know about why Oderus should replace Robert E. Lee on that statue in Richmond?
Well, look, I want to point something out. I don't think that Oderus should replace Robert E. Lee on that statue in Richmond. For one thing, he'd be in some really shitty company, right? Like, you know, it's just a parade of douchebags. I mean, you got Arthur Ashe down there on the end, and he's, you know, I guess he's all right, but like the rest of them, I mean, why would Oderus want to be in that row of losers? He doesn't. And even if they pull them all down, Monument Avenue still has the reputation and the history of being the place where losers, I mean, what kind of a country allows the losers of a war to erect a bunch of monuments and statues to themselves? And it's not just Monument Avenue; it's all over the country. So, you know, having Oderus up there would really actually be, I don't think, very useful in this situation. I think that they should just explode the entire damn monument, just make it a big smoldering hole in the ground is what I would like to see. But you know, so Oderus, I mean, there should be statues of Oderus everywhere, and maybe one day there will. But Monument Avenue right now, I don't think it's the place.
Well, if Richmond, the city of Richmond, doesn't take down the Robert E. Lee statue, would Gwar think about doing it themselves?
Well, certainly, I don't think we'll have to. I think if the city of Richmond doesn't take that monument down, then it's probably going to wind up in a smoldering heap slag of shit anyway. You know, one thing that has been cool about what's going on down there is the monuments are a lot more colorful now. They've been spray painted all to shit. And, people are doing a good job. They're doing a good job. I have to give the humans this. They are doing a good job of stirring up all kinds of just, I mean, who has seen a period of time like this? It's insane. A lot of change, a lot of crazy violence, the kinds of things that Gwar normally could really get behind. But like I said, in this case, I think the statue probably will come down. And if the city doesn't take it down, then I think the protesters will yank it down with chains.
Well, and, once Gwar returned to touring after this pandemic, given all the stuff that's gone down with the pandemic, the protests, are there any new politicians or celebrities that the band would like to disembowel on stage, once you get back on the road?
Well, once we get back on the road, we're probably going to experiment. It's going to be like the early days of Gwar. We're going to try to have concerts with no fans at all, right? Just like we did in the beginning. I think we're going to parade. It's going to be the usual parade of people that Gwar wants to kill. I do think that some people have probably stepped up and earned that more than others. I mean, we've been killing Trump for a long time. At this point, it's old hat. And he won't die, by the way. Donald Trump will not die. He cannot be killed. It's ridiculous. And I don't think we've brought out any dead Confederate soldiers. We have talked about working up some kind of an incantation that would actually bring those statues to life. And nobody's pulling down Stewart or Stonewall Jackson, but I mean, what kind of fun would it be if those giant horseback men actually started rolling around, and then you summon up all of the dead who are littering the fields in Cold Harbor from the Civil War, all of them just come back to life and turn on the generals. Or maybe even have a big statue of Joe Louis Fist come down and bust up these generals. That'd be great.
That sounds good. And this summer, Gwar is releasing a 30th anniversary edition of Scumdogs of the Universe, a classic album. And I know you're very close to Beefcake the Mighty, who was on that album. And what would he say about, what would be some of his memories of recording and releasing that album in particular?
Oh, it was a simpler time, a much simpler time. I remember the record coming out and being bitterly disappointed in the way that it sounded and looked. And now we're doing a re-release of it. And I think that it's going to be much better around this time. What I remember about doing it, I was, Beefcake at the time, he was a very young man, very impressionable, had a lot of fun, did a lot of cocaine, and somehow managed to not die. He managed to avoid the fat guy on Saturday Night Live syndrome. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, it was a fun record to make. And once we got it, like I said, this new release really corrects some of the issues that we had with it when it first came out. So we're certainly happy to see that. It's got new packaging. It's been remixed by Ronan Murphy, who did the last Gwar album. And it sounds good. It looks good. It's been re-edited. There's stuff on this new release that people have never heard before because at the time, there were changes made to it that when we got them back was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this song doesn't need to be 17 and a half minutes long. Maybe it should be 4.5 minutes long. Now they're all back to their unwieldy and impractical original length.
Great. Any other goodies that coming with the package?
Oh yeah, all kinds of stuff. It's going to have signed, there's going to be photographs, there's going to be booklets, there's going to be just all kinds of stuff in there, stickers, things that make especially the box set is going to be a very special release. People are going to get a lot with it.
And it's been 3 years since the last album, The Blood of the Gods. And I wanted to know, are the creative wheels turning for a new Gwar album? And is there any timeline for a potential release?
Well, absolutely. We just did a series of acoustic numbers that we recorded over the telephone, which is nothing new for Gwar. I mean, that's how we've done our albums. That's why Scumdogs sounded so terrible. It's all recorded over the phone. Even then, we couldn't stand to be in each other's presence. Of course, now things have changed, and we can't really get together. You know, so being separated as we have, it's definitely refocused our efforts for sure. We're working on television stuff. We're working on film and video ideas, and it's been a period of great creativity for Gwar. Absolutely, we've been developing and writing songs. And as far as release dates, I don't know. I mean, everything's so uncertain right now as far as what's coming out, and whether or not, you know, we'll be able to travel and all this stuff. So who knows when it's going to come out. But one thing is for sure, we've been making more art probably in the last 6 months than we have in the last 3 years.
When you do go back on tour, will Gwar, the members of Gwar, need to wear masks? Or are you guys immune to any?
Yeah, well, like I said, I don't think we'll wear masks. If we do, then it'll be, you know, like a silly mask. I mean, Gwar, but that doesn't mean that Gwar doesn't support humans wearing masks. I mean, I have to go to the grocery store just like everybody else when I want to get my pork rinds.
Yeah.
And I hate going in there and seeing a bunch of dimwits walking around coughing on each other. So, you know, humans wear masks. Gwar, not so much.
Well, you want them to survive so you can destroy them later, right?
That's right. That's absolutely right. I mean, well, and also we don't want to see their hideous faces. I mean, Gwar are beautiful. It would be truly a crime to cover these faces with masks.
And I want to thank you for your time. If you have one more message you want to give to us measly earthlings, here's your chance during this pandemic and during this time of uproar and protest. What would you like to tell us?
Hey, you know, keep the torches lit. Keep the cities burning. It's insane. It's great to watch. A lot of change coming, and I can feel a lot of big things happening. And certainly, you know, as far as COVID-19, I don't know. One can only hope. I've been in Florida lately, so I don't know. starting to look pretty hairy down here. It's like it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
Everybody's just walking around on the beach with tube tops on, smoking Marlboros and carrying Donald Trump signs.